What's up everybody, Jack here from Chrome, and right now is a great time to be getting into FPV. There are so many options and so many good HD options out there. The first big player on the HD FPV scene was DJI with their first release of the Air Unit, and it was fantastic. But there are some more competitors in the game. Fatshark and walksnail have partnered to make their own system, which pretty much looks like it came from DJI. And my buddy Josh, as he likes to say, is a $700 beta tester for them. So I've got to fly that one as well. And there's HDZero. Now HDZero is very different from DJI and Fatshark, and it absolutely has some of its own advantages. And of course, DJI didn't just stop with their version 1 of the Air Unit. There's a second one on the way. And if you have the Avada, you've got the guts of that already. So what I'm going to do is look at the 4 HD systems. We've got the old school DJI Air Unit, we've got the new Fatshark Avatar, we've got HDZero, and I've got the new DJI Avada. And if you believe the rumors, the Air Unit's based on that. So I'm going to compare not the camera quality, but what you see in the goggles, because I think that is what really matters. You can put any camera you want on your quad, but the picture coming to your eyes, I think that is where the difference lies. So I'm going to do a very non-scientific comparison of these 4 systems. I don't have exact equipment, and I know that there are some flaws in the tests that I ran. I'll kind of point them out. I'll run through these 4 different systems, and I'll kind of tell you what I like about each one. So stay tuned, this is going to be fun. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is run through each one of these systems on their own and talk a little bit about it, and then I'm going to put all 4 of these HD feeds on the screen at the same time. Now, I was flying them at different times, and I'll explain that, but I want to do that so you can kind of see how they compare together. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to start where it started, and that's with DJI. So this first one is the original DJI Air Unit with the original DJI camera that came with it. It's on my iFlight Nazgul, right? It was originally an analog quad, and I swapped out the analog VTX for this because look at the clarity. Now, don't judge the flying, and no, the tune isn't perfect, but this is the view that I'm getting from my goggles. And I remember sharing this experience with people that have flown analog before, and it's a great, like, oh my gosh, I can see. It is so much clearer than analog. So kudos to DJI for putting this out there. You'll kind of notice that the breakup happens on the edges, right? That's their focus mode. So the center of this of the video here tends to stay clearer, and I kind of get that breakup along the edges, which is actually really nice because obviously the center is probably the most important part of what you need to focus on. So yeah, this is good. Now, DJI FPV is expensive, but the price is actually coming down a little bit. You can get the goggles for, I think it's $429, and then either an Air Unit or an Air Unit Lite is going to cost you somewhere between $140 and $180. And there are a handful of different vendors, and yeah, I know Caddx isn't working with them anymore, but the units are still being produced, at least for now. But is it something that I'd recommend you get into? Well, that's kind of hard to say because with DJI coming out with another Air Unit, I'm not sure how they're going to continue to support this. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll push that on to, was it iFlight or whoever they decided to manufacture the Air Unit lights, aka the Vistas. So there's that. It's still really good technology, and there's a ton of them out there, right? There's just a lot of Air Units still. You can still pick up a Vista. You can still pick up the goggles, and it's a pretty solid option. But is it something you really want to get into that might be going away, or are there better options? So this is probably the best setup, and now you can really kind of see the breakup as I get a little further away. But this is this is probably, in terms of the components that are paired with the equipment, this is the best setup, mostly because I had to do the least amount of work getting this VTX into the system. So now we're going to switch to the Avatar so you can see how that compares. Okay, so now we're looking at the Fatshark Avatar system. And this is actually Josh flying. This is his system. I did fly it. We'll get a video of me flying later. But it reminded me very much of DJI. One of the advantages, I really like the OSD. And apparently that didn't save in this video. Maybe that's a setting. Or maybe Josh turned it off for his flight. I'm not really sure. But either way, there are some things about this system that I do really like. So Fatshark and Caddx, they're built for FPV, right? That's what they do. DJI, it's kind of like their little side job, their little side hustle. So you would hope that Caddx and Fatshark are listening to the consumer, right? They're building a product for the consumer. Now, Fatshark doesn't have a really great history of listening to the customer, but, over time, slowly, they've been a little bit more responsive, so there's that. But yeah, I really do like this system. The breakup, again, very similar, kind of fades in and fades out. I almost felt like it was kind of washing like a haze or a smoke in the middle of the screen when I was flying. So the breakup is similar again to DJI, but a little bit different. Really good, really nice. I think there's definitely some good things about this system. The goggles are definitely more comfortable than the DJI V2 goggles. Those weren't the best. Here's Josh hovering so that probably Mike or I can get in the air there. But yeah, it's just a solid option. Now it's going to be a little bit more expensive, right? So the goggles are going to start at $600, and the Air Unit, or the whatever they call it, the walksnail unit, Avatar unit, I don't know what they call it, I forget. It's like $160 to get one of those. Now, it doesn't have a place for onboard SD cards, but you can save it to some internal memory, so that's cool. I guess Josh was having some issues getting it out. You need a special connector, so not the easiest of solutions, but it does work. But again, does that really matter? I mean, you can put any camera on your quad, which is why we're looking at the video coming out of the goggles. Again, this is video from the Fatshark Dominator HD FPV goggles that are paired with the Avatar system. Really good option. Definitely something to consider. Okay, so now here we're looking at the HDZero system, and you can see that it's nighttime. I had to come back because I was having all sorts of problems with my quad itself. Not the HDZero system, but the quad. I had some problems with the flight controller. I had some problems with the antenna, and actually, you'll see here, I got breakup right away. That is not indicative of the system. I'm using a goofy micro antenna that I just shouldn't be using, which is why I'm getting breakup so close, right? That is not a criticism of the system. It's basically my fault because I messed up the antenna. And HDZero, it looks good, right, when you're flying close, and you'll see that. And obviously, this is a terrible frame. I've got lots of, the HDZero system is not well set up for this comparison. But it does absolutely shine and outshine the other systems when you get into smaller quads, or if you're into racing. Both the DJI and the Avatar system have this variable latency where the timing to your eyes changes. And it's not a huge deal, especially if you do FPV, but if you're into racing, that really matters. And actually, it does sometimes matter if you're doing freestyle or whatnot. I've crashed because I misjudged things because of the latency, also partly human error. But again, HDZero, I think where it really wins isn't here, but here. This is where it wins. The tiny little micros. Yeah, I know. Avatar has a 1S board, but it's still going to be I think it's like 5 or 7 grams heavier. I forget exactly, but it's heavier. And every gram matters when you're flying tiny whoops and you're flying them around your basement or your house or whatever. The HDZero system is absolutely better for that. And the development of this has been really FPV focused, with a lot of input from pilots and people that fly these things daily. Yeah, you know, you're going to have to update your system, but you don't have to buy a whole new set of goggles. You can buy a VRX, right? A system that goes onto your existing goggles, so you can fly analog or HDZero. And in terms of cost, it's also going to be less expensive, right? So adding a VRX to your existing goggles, if you have them, it's like $200 to $225. And then, you know, the VTXs, they're coming in at $50 to $100 for the 1 watt plus a camera. So definitely cheaper to go this route. And I'm a fan of the OSD, right? It's just like Betaflight, but looks better and enabled in Betaflight the same way that you would any other OSD. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the DJI Avada. Now, is the Avada the same as the Air Unit 2? Maybe, maybe not. But rumors are that the Air Unit 2 is basically going to be the guts from the Avada. And if that's the case, that's going to be awesome, because this is absolutely the best picture I've ever experienced in a set of goggles, ever. It just is. The DJI FPV drone, under those goggles, really good. Under the new V2 goggles, not to be confused with goggles 2, V2, or goggles whatever. The new goggles, the new DJI goggles, the slim ones, they fit better, they feel better, they are better. And this picture is the best FPV picture I've ever experienced, bar none. Right, the original Air Unit was good. The Fatshark Avatar is good. HDZero, I like that for a lot of things. But this takes the cake, and it's really not close. The details that you can see in the goggles are fantastic, but it comes at a price, right? The new goggles are expensive. Right now, the only way to get your hands on this system is to buy the Avada combo, and it's like $1,300 for the drone and the goggles, and you still don't even get the remote controller that you probably want. I think that's like another $150 or $200. It's just a shame, but the video coming out of this is great, and I'm excited. If the Air Unit is this, it's just going to be really, really good. But it's also going to be really expensive. And DJI has some of those things on lockdown that people don't like, you know, geofencing. And this may be remote ID compliant, which is a good thing, or is it a bad thing? Right? That's kind of up to you. All right, let's take a look at these 4 systems side by side. All right, as we look at these 4 systems side by side, I'll kind of give you my final thoughts. Yeah. They're all different, and you're gonna have your own opinions. I really like HDZero. I know that this particular flight looks terrible compared to the rest, but that's really the antenna's fault and my fault. I also love it because I can put it on whoops. It also isn't the best in terms of video. It just isn't. That absolutely is the new DJI system on the Avada, going to be the Air Unit 2. It is absolutely crystal clear. I don't think you can argue that any of these other systems are as good, right? They're just not. But they're also all going to be less expensive, so money is a factor. The original DJI stuff is still really good, and there's still a lot of it out there. And if you already kind of are in that system, there's nothing wrong with staying in that lane. But if you're kind of like, screw DJI, I want something else. Yeah, Fatshark, Avatar, it's there and it's good. You know, it's a great time to be in FPV because there are so many excellent options. That's the bonus. Hey, so there'll be links down below if you want any of this stuff, and it helps support the channel. They're affiliate links. We get a small commission. Doesn't cost you a thing. Just another way to support the channel. I'd love to hear your comments. What system are you rocking? Which one do you like and why? Where are you going to spend your money? Ultimately, that's what's going to decide which one of these systems prevails, right? Us, the consumer, the FPV pilot. Let me know what you think. Was this helpful? Comments down below. We'll take the good with the bad. Anyway, good luck, everyone, and happy flying.